So up next, we have Nina Wells. Nina Wells will be speaking on generational wealth. She's a decorated Army veteran, a mother of four, and more importantly, a financial strategist who is passionate about improving financial literacy. I'm sure that's something we all are excited to hearing about how we can make our money work for us so that we can have something for our children and for our children's children. And here, so I'll bring Nina up on stage. Thank you so much, Nina. Over to you.
Great afternoon. Thank you for having me. And I just wanted to speak on the I am change. I am change really resonated with me because I thought about it was a saying that I heard a while ago. It said, be the change that you want to see. So why not start it within our own families, within our own lineage? And if you think about it, you can change the narrative of your family. So I am change, be the change. So I'm being the change that I want to see. And of course, I started with me. So my name is Nathenia Wells. Many know me as Nina Wells. I am a licensed insurance agent in multiple states. I say multiple states. I enjoy financial literacy. I love educating people because people perish because of lack of knowledge. So I like people to be knowledgeable, and I like to do and inform people with integrity. And I just really want to hone in on the insurance industry. The insurance industry is the number $1 million $1 million um sorry, lost my thought. $1 million producer, and second is real estate. So you can definitely change the narrative for yourself and for your family. So a lot of people don't think that they qualify or can afford life insurance, but that's not true. One, let me see, for imagine being a child and starting your adulthood off with a policy that could change the trajectory of your life and set you forth for as little as $1 a day. So think about the things that you spend money on that's more than $1, whether it's Starbucks coffee. I know I love my Starbucks. So a cup of Starbucks coffee, going to get some food from McDonald's or whatever you're liking to me. Mine is coffee. So just think about that. And I know that there's many policies that are for adults that are less than $3 a month. So just imagine that. And I wanted to talk about some myths. People think that they can't afford life insurance because they are not healthy. Say, oh, it's only for healthy people, but that's not true. We have many different options for people of different lifestyles, ages, and backgrounds, whether you have a pre-existing illness or not. So that's definitely a myth that because you're never too old to purchase life insurance. And life insurance typically depends on your health and your age. That's the main two factors of life insurance. So with that, you want to make sure that you ever heard the saying, health is wealth. Health is wealth because, especially in the life insurance industry, because as you age, and we're all going to age, but if you do your best to remain as healthy as possible, there are benefits to that, meaning that you'll have a lower cost for insurance. And then there is another myth that, oh, I'm single or married with no children. I don't see the need to have life insurance. Well, you can have life insurance not just for your family. If you have a business, especially my business owners, if you have a business, there's something that you can purchase life insurance if you're in partnership, or if you have a business and you want your business to go on in the event that you pass away, You can have life insurance to cover your expenses or to dissolve your dissolve your business and take care of the necessary things, because maybe you have employees and they need to be paid out in the event that something happens to you or whatever needs to happen. And of course, I always advise uh, speaking with an attorney to draft up a will for yourselves. That's important as well. So it's not just about, oh, I'm gonna just have a life insurance policy, because even though you have beneficiaries and you have where you want your money designated to, you definitely need to have other things in place too. And that's where an attorney and a will comes into place too. And then you have the myth that beneficiaries have to pay taxes on life insurance. That's absolutely not true. That is one of the main tax-free incomes that a person could receive that they don't have to pay tax for. So, yay. And then you have the myth that I know it's kind of new. It's new to the general public, and it's called an IUL. An IUL, people are misguided on that, and I like to keep people informed on what an IUL and how to properly use it. So that's one of my specialties in informing people on how to use the IUL. But just imagine being 18 years old and you don't have to worry about debt, um, because life insurance is not only, you don't have to only have life insurance in the event that you die, because there's living benefits to insurance as well. So for instance, my grandchildren, they have my children and my grandchildren have a $50,000 whole life policy that it is less, it's about $25 a month is what I spend for them. And it is when they turn 18, what they can do with that life insurance policy is either keep it as a whole life policy, or they can change it into a different type of policy, which has other living benefits as well. So I love to um, help people explore their options and understand what you can do with a life insurance. But I also like to do an education piece, um, because I don't like people to be misinformed. I don't like people to be misguided, and I want people to know that there are options. And yes, you can have life insurance with your with your company that you work for. But say they do a layoff, and there you are, 1 week you're insured, you say, oh, I'm covered because I have insurance with my job. The next week they say, hey, we're going bankrupt and we need insurance. We're going bankrupt and you don't have insurance anymore. What are you going to do? And you may have been on that job for, say, 20 years. And if you're on that job for 20 years, and that means that you have aged, that means that your health may have changed. And so getting a new insurance policy after 20 years from starting from scratch, that might be a little challenging. And you can have you can have policies with your with the job that you work, but you can also have your own just in case something like that ever happens. So I just want to encourage you all that you can change the narrative in your family, starting with you, starting with your children, grandchildren, and there I see. I definitely encourage everyone to do their own research, because different there's a lot of information out there. It's a lot of information out there, and everything, it's not a cookie cutter thing. One doesn't fit all. There's different aspects to each person's life, to eat what each person may be dealing with, even children, because a lot of people say, oh, my child is just a child, they don't need life insurance. But how many news breaks have we seen on the news where we're seeing children being killed, having dying from accidents? It's no age limit on uh, how old you may be if something were to happen to you. So I just want to encourage you to do your research and feel free to reach out to me with any questions that you may have, because I know that I wish that I had been informed growing up about insurance. And I just want to give you a little backstory. It's the reason why I got into life insurance. There was an incident where my grandmother, she had life insurance on herself and my grandfather, well, my great grandfather, which is her father, and some other people for several years. Well, there was a not so honest life insurance agent who took advantage of her and was stealing from the policy. So I had it set in my heart and mind. I said, I don't want these things to happen to anyone like this. And, you know, my grandmother being a senior citizen, I just didn't feel that that was right. And I wanted to find out, how did this happen? How was this insurance agent able to do this? So if you ever have, and this is in any industry, if you ever have anyone that gives you information but does not give you access to your information, that's a huge red flag. You should have complete disclosure, full disclosure, to all, and full access to all of your information. You should be getting statements. You should be knowing, getting reports on your accounts, and that's with any account. So we also have to play a part in our education as well, and knowing that, hey, if it sounds a little funny, it might be a little funny. So just take that into consideration. And if I could be of any assistance to anyone, I would definitely help.
Thank you so much, Nina. That was really, really informative. So, as I said at the beginning, my name is Wango Murithi, and before I currently live in Nairobi, Kenya, and before that, I lived in the UK, which is where I grew up and spent the rest of my life, or the vast majority of my life. So, insurance was never really something that I thought about. Just because of the way that both of these countries work. But you've educated me so much, and I'm actually, and I know I have some policy on something, but actually you've inspired me to go and look into it a little bit more and just find out exactly what the terms and conditions are and what it is I'm paying for. We have a question in the chat from Bella. What is an IUL? It was something you mentioned. We just wanted to know a little bit more about that.
So an IUL, it's an acronym for Index Universal Life Insurance, and that's a policy where it takes insurance and term life and combine them so you could enjoy the benefits of the living benefits of the insurance policy. So I'm gonna just give an example. You say, I want a $100,000 life insurance policy. You get that insurance policy in an IUL, and after a certain amount of time, depending on how you set up your policy, and you contribute to it, you build up what they call a face value. And then it could take a couple of months, it could take a year, it just depends on your situation and how you set it up. And you say, hey, um, I want to borrow $80,000 because I have received, I saw this investment property that I want to purchase, and I want to buy this for 80,000. I want to borrow $80,000. Well, when you borrow it, you don't need to do what do you call a credit application, because it's your money. So it's not like going to the bank and saying, hey, can I borrow this money that's mine, because it's already yours. So you borrow this $80,000. You say, hey, I want to put this in an investment property. You get that, and you also earn interest on your IUL. So on an IUL, it stays between 7 to 10% as of now. It ranges. You never receive you never experience the decline of it, but you always will benefit from the interest on it, gain the interest. You'll never experience the loss, but you'll always experience the gain on it. And if you take that $80,000 out of that $100,000, it'll be receiving that interest on a $20,000 policy. You'll still be receiving it on the $100,000 because they're expecting you to put that money back into your account at some point. Now, I know y'all heard of the Rockefellers, and that's essentially how they got rich. They would take out a life insurance policy on one another, say, your child, and they say, okay, and they would just rinse and repeat, and they would buy assets, and they would still be gaining interest on this income, on this insurance policy that they have, while they are also making money off the assets that they have. And the assets, once say a grandmother passed away, well, that $80,000 that she borrowed to replace, I mean, she doesn't have to replace it back because the life insurance policy, the death benefits took care of that. So now whoever her beneficiary is, they have a life insurance policy that is passed down, and they have an asset that they don't have to pay back.
This is really this is so fascinating, and it's really interesting that you bring up the Rockefellers. I think one of the ways that I've always, and for me, I'll be super honest, and I've never really thought of insurance policies as a way to sort of build generational wealth. I've always thought of what the things that I know, so investment properties, stocks, stocks, shares, trading on different different markets, but insurance policies is never something that I thought of, and I'm so glad that you have educated us on this really important and really interesting topic. I'm curious if there are other people from outside of the US who might be also interested, and I would also encourage you, in the same way that you said, Nina, you've encouraged us to go out and seek the correct information and just to do a lot of homework on all of the rest of it. I wanted to ask you another question, Nina, just before we finish. We've got 2 minutes left of your segment. Wanted to ask you, are there any other forms of building generational wealth? Maybe are there 3 on the top of your mind that you would definitely recommend people to think about?
Oh, for one, being life insurance, 2, being real estate, and let me see, number 3, I would say having your own business. Because there's many benefits to that. There's more self-made millionaires in having their own business than there are people working, because think about the average salaries of a traditional job. So having your own business has great benefits, and it's great to wealth building as well. And because there's tax strategies, which I'm well versed in as well. So there's tax strategies, there's other things that you can put into place just by having your own business.
That's really, I think that's really quite something. I've definitely learned a lot from it, and also what you said about insuring your business as well. That's not something that, I mean, you have to insure your business depending on what you're doing, but I had never thought about it from the perspective of wealth generation, or as possibly increasing my income streams for my business. So that's really, I'm really glad that you have shared that with us, Nina. I think we are ready to move on. So thank you very much, Nina. You can find Nina on We Build Wealth Group on Instagram. And I also just want to take this time to interrupt, or to remind us all that to follow Strategic Solutions Global on Instagram. And if there are any, for you to get more information about any of the forthcoming events. Do we have any questions from the audience? It would be great to hear from anybody else. If there's anybody else who's curious about it, about insurance policies, Nina is right here ready to answer any of those questions for us. Thank you so much, everybody. Actually, Nina, it's like your time is done. Thank you.
Thank
Okay. I'm going to bring on
Yeah, this conference has been so great. Super excited, super excited to have had all the speakers on thus far.